First up, at UFC Vegas 93, we already, right out of the gate, have one of the fights that a lot of people are talking about because a lot of people love Shayilan Nuerdanbieke as a dog in this fight. But we have Shayilan Nuerdanbieke taking on Melquizael, or we'll just say Melk for short, Costa. This is a good fight, and we do have a little bit to learn here. Both of these gentlemen were just knocked out by Steve Garcia. Melk Costa 20-7 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. Knocked out by Steve Garcia in his last fight. Shayilan Nuerdanbieke 39-11 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. Knocked out by Steve Garcia in his last fight. And it's an interesting matchup because Shayilan Nuerdanbieke is a powerful grappler. He's going to come forward. He's going to land some big throw, some big heavy strikes. He's got a bully style where he is going to plot forward. He's going to bomb. He's going to push you against the cage. He's going to try to work the takedowns. He will go from one takedown to another. He will chain wrestle. And when he's on top, he's got solid pressure, good ground and pound. I mentioned he's coming off that KO loss to Steve Garcia, where he actually looked good leading up to that. The power looked good. The wrestling was there, but ultimately he got put out in the second. Taking on prospect-ish, prospect-adjacent. I don't think Melk Costa is as good as a lot of people give him credit for, but Melk Costa is on the other side of this ticket. He's a well-rounded guy. He's got creative striking. He has his own solid grappling. His takedowns are forced, but he's typically strong enough to make something happen, and he is certainly persistent enough. You will see him work for takedowns often, but it doesn't always make sense because he's a good striker. He doesn't need to be shooting takedowns, and he'll do it anyway. He's got some powerful hands, solid technique, strings together combinations pretty well. He'll even mix in a spinning attack or two. He also had a little bit of wrestling success with Steve Garcia before he was knocked out. I'm going to tell you right now, I am going to pick Melk Costa, but at insanely very low confidence. When he's flowing, when he's comfortable and he's not worried about anything, his striking looks incredible. He's technical, but he makes those weird decisions where he tries to wrestle when he shouldn't be wrestling. He often treats wrestling as his plan A when it should be his plan B. He's a pretty big favorite here. I can't trust him. Hopefully he keeps the distance, defends the takedowns, and then pieces up Shayilan. But if he engages some clinch work, Shayilan will bully Melk and drag him to the ground. I am going to go Melk Costa here because I think he's the better fighter. But like the confidence level is so insanely low because he can just get pushed around and taken down himself. What do you think? Chicky boy.
Yeah, this one is going to be definitely a little bit interesting. Both these guys probably won the first round versus Steve Garcia. I mean, Melk was a little bit boring. He was just kind of holding them the whole time, but with the control, probably won the first round. Shayilan knocked down Steve Garcia. Probably should have finished that fight. Probably made a mistake going to the wrestling and the grappling. He followed Steve to the ground and then just started wrestling him and then almost got knocked out himself at the end of the first round and then hit that body shot that kind of put him out in the second round. So both these guys had the success. They both got finished by Steve Garcia. It is what it is. In my mind, I think this is going to turn into wrestling versus jiu-jitsu. I think Melk is more of a jiu-jitsu type grappler. Shayilan is definitely kind of that powerful, control wrestling type guy. And it's going to come down to whoever gets tired first. And Shayilan was really wrestling hard against Steve Garcia. Even after he knocked him down, you really see it kind of wore on his gas tank a little bit. As far as durability-wise, if there's a lot of grappling, I think I might favor Melk a little bit. You know, kind of that short notice against Thiago, and that's Thiago. I mean, he's a really high-level grappler. He got finished in that matchup, but we'll see if Shayilan can get the takedowns and keep the control long enough to where he doesn't end up in a bad position. But if Melk is ever in a situation where Shayilan's tired on the feet or he's tired in a scramble and he gets this dude back, I mean, I think Melk is probably the more dangerous guy here. I'm going with Shayilan. I think that it's going to be just a wrestling takedown, and then it's going to be Melk trying to do that jiu-jitsu thing off his back, and Shayilan be able to keep control for at least 2 rounds to be able to win this decision. So I'm going with Shayilan, but not crazy confident.
Yeah, I'm not confident on my side either because it is a pretty even matchup. It's almost like the UFC is like, all right, one of you is going to be good and one of you isn't. So let's just go ahead and find out and move on. And I did read that some of the old school matchmaking would do that. They would get some guys coming off of losses and then they would put them together so that somebody would get a win and they know what direction they could go instead of constantly putting prospects against each other. And that seems like what this is. Shayilan's a guy that's been inconsistent. Melk Costa hasn't really done what they thought he was going to do when they brought him in. One of these guys is going to get a win and then be back on track. The other one, I don't know if they'll quite be cut yet, but certainly not going to be heading anywhere great. Melk Costa, $8,500 in DraftKings. Even if you think he wins, I don't think that's necessarily worth it because I don't think he's going to knock out Nuerdanbieke. And then we're going to need some offensive wrestling out of him, which we may not get. So I don't know if he's going to be worth that $8,500. Do you?
Probably not.
Probably not. It is. We do have some line movement, though. It opened at -135, now sitting at -188. So money is coming in on Melk Costa. And actually, if we work across the board here as we work through these fights, you're going to see a lot of these favorites have widened as the week has gone on. And I think money is just coming in and people are just doing the easy choice because Melk Costa is not a person I would be betting on. Certainly not in the favorite spot. If you do want to unlock all of my bets, all of Jacob's bets, the tools, the picks, and everything else, go to WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It is only $10 for an entire month. And as we all know, this month includes this card, Saudi Arabia, and then UFC 303. Couple of super chats. Godson Jarvo, RIP my boy Benny. Comistorian on YouTube. Did this guy die?
Comic story.
Comic Storian, like he tells
YouTuber
stories.
Ben Comic Storian Potter's death revealed as a tragic single car accident where his car flipped.
Damn, that is unfortunate. Car accident. There was a kid in the neighborhood coming home from college that just last week got into a car accident and died. That's got to be
great story.
I'm too raw with the 279 Canadian. Happy early Father's Day.
Fuck you wishing
boys.
me happy Father's Day for?
You're a fur dad.
Shouldn't give me shit.
Viva la Brasil. Yeah, my kids didn't give me shit for my birthday, so it is what it is. Thank you very much for the 279. Let's go ahead and move on.